Welcome back in, everybody.
Good morning, Mike.
19th annual Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy Halloween show. Glad to have you guys in. In case you missed the first, the morning BM, you definitely don't want to miss this BM we just had. It was a good one.
Podcast.
And yeah, you can check it out at golftalkradio.com and go to the podcast page. It's free. Download it. We'll have it going. Well, actually, we'll have it posted by the middle of the day today because I'm going to post it in the middle of the day.
You know, you're an amazing human being, Mike. So you're going to inflate your tires and then go about podcast. Upload some podcasts.
Would you ask me on my morning go?
Was it Halloweenish?
If you just go the last 24 hours, I smashed my thumb with a hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
That hurts.
I
too.
started driving and both of my right side tires on my car came, warning, tire pressure, tire pressure, tire pressure. So then, of course, I stop at the first gas station and it needs quarters for the air. I have no quarters. I've talked about this before on the show.
So the lesson here, man, you got to get a little stack of quarters to throw in your glove compartment.
Okay, so
Come on, man.
Here's where a good deed does go punished. I gave my change to a homeless lady 2 nights ago when I was getting in my car after getting some stuff in the store. So I reached in, I grabbed the change I had. There were some quarters. I'm not saying that was a bad thing. I gave her
You did a good thing.
money, and I gave her the money, and it had a ball marker in there by accident, and I go, oh, you probably don't want that. And I gave it back. She goes, why wouldn't I want that? I said, that's my favorite ball marker.
Did you try putting that in the air machine?
No.
All right, because I went to do it. It's funny. So I went to check my air too, but it was free. The air was actually free. You press a
I
little
found
button
free
on
at
the side.
second gas
a little
station.
button
I
on the
found
side.
free. Yeah. I found,
So I was like, wow,
found
very
free.
cool, because I have quarters, man, prepared.
and then I got here to the studio, and I texted Hobbs, and I'm running late. And I grabbed the chairs because, the chairs that are in the studio are not like the most comfortable things in the world. And I broke the chair.
You broke one of their chairs?
I did break one of the chairs.
Jeez. And you hit the wrong nail with the hammer?
And then your mics aren't working right.
I'm okay.
But I'm calm. I've got it. I feel good.
So is there like a spirit running through you or something?
I don't know.
Because I'm a little freaked out right now.
So speaking of spirits, what do you got over there?
Okay, well, I just mentioned that the golf is, and take this for what it is. We are we promote the game of golf, love the game of golf. We've been doing it our whole lives. We're both PGA professionals. Rarely do we discuss the dangers and mishaps that happen, and truthfully, they are pretty rare, except for when you hear that 40,000 golfers last year went to the ER because of head injuries due
If
to
I
balls.
had a hammer,
Yeah.
I built a house for two.
You hit the wrong nail, did you? You got blood coming out of your fingertip.
I know, see
That's
it?
just disgusting. So anyways, I was talking about this numbers, and golf, considering 7 out of 10 amateurs and 9 out of 10 professionals will suffer golf-related injuries at least once in their lifetime. Golf was ahead of, the only thing that beat golf, and they called this general exercise, which included running, jogging, running, weightlifting, those kind of, general exercise. It's the only, and they bundle those into one, is the only number that's higher than golf as far as related injuries. So, you got to stretch, man, and try, and yell 4. And I want to talk about yelling 4. Do you mind if I yell 4?
Please.
All right.
Please talk about
Please yell
the
4. And this is
F-O-R-E.
our job is to protect the golfers and each other in the world.
So we're making this an educational segment.
This is our educational part, and the topic of this is please yell 4. You may just save some lives. Now, death by golf ball is not all that uncommon, and here are just a handful. This happened within the last few years. This was a quick web search, and they found a dozen people in the last from 3 years to today. Turned out to be fatal shots are not uncommon as you might think. And they brought it up because a maintenance guy just a week or two ago in Florida was struck in the temple with an errant shot while he was working near a tree, and it turned out fatal. It hit him in the temple, and down he went, never got up. Pretty heavy duty thing. So the people who wrote the story of that found out. So a 69-year-old man died several days ago being struck in the back of the head by a tee shot from 10 yards away after walking ahead of his playing groups. I've done that with you guys and got hit in the back, which is not a good plan. I rarely go in front anymore.
Didn't somebody yell 4 when you were playing at Avila and you turned around and got hit?
Back. It was a second shot. He hit a 3-wood. I walked in front, and then I hear, he yelled, Billy. So I turned around real quick and got hit in the chest with the ball, and it felt like I was hit by a truck. He yelled, Billy. I turned around, what?
That's not a smart thing to yell.
He yelled my name.
Oh, that's good.
That was great.
That'll make you turn around.
This happened, by the way, down in Chino, California. 66-year-old woman killed in 2014 after being struck in the back of the head, wayward tee shot, by her son-in-law, which is not great. She
gosh,
died the
man.
day after being struck. 16-year-old girl, very sad. 16-year-old girl was hit a golf ball in Sydney, Australia in 2017. She was sad. She died because she was given the wrong dose of medicine at the hospital, which is awful. So her brain was swelling. They gave her the wrong medicine. 13-year-old little kids. I don't want to talk too much about it, but they went. And little kids are very susceptible. Susceptible to that because of the I guess do you think the thickness of their skulls or something?
Yeah.
But it's pretty. So really, if you had a ball that's going towards somebody, yell 4. Only one person they know has died on a tour. People. Like the girl that lost her eyeball from Koepka. That happens a lot more. Well, not losing eyeballs, but people get hit a lot. But only one person has died from that they know of from any tour event. But it happens a lot in just your normal daily lives because people, errant shots. If you hit the ball straight, you never hit anybody. But who hits the ball straight, right?
Well, that's the thing that I know we've talked about. The thing that's so amazing to me, and even when we've gone to different tournaments, like we've been very fortunate to go to the Masters and the U.S. Open, and the reason I bring those up is because the size of the crowds there's just masses of people, and you see it on TV and you think, gosh, what are those people thinking? But then when you're there in person, people are even closer to these players and more in front of them than ever. Like, you remember when we were in the Masters at 2016 and we were getting ready to leave, and Garcia and Dustin Johnson were hitting on tee shot on 16, and you and I and Nikki were up there. We were 30 yards, 40 yards ahead of them, and we were not much off to their left. And I remember that golf ball going flying by us and whistling, and I thought, yeah, it seems like they're dead. And there's just people packed in there like sardines.
You see it weekly when they have an errant shot off towards the gallery, and then you spread the gallery about a yard apart, and there's this aisle or this hallway of people.
Yes.
That are four yards apart maybe, and they're screaming a 4-iron towards the green, and there's a line of people 10, 20 yards in front of them that's just this. And they're like, okay, you're good. Just stay right there. You're good. Dude, I would be afraid to pull the trigger, right? I mean, what if, you could catch a stone or catch a hosel or something.
It's what's interesting, too, is about what happened to the lady in the Ryder Cup. That's obviously one of the more higher profile tournaments on tour, or not on tour, but between the two tours. If anything really comes of that, because, you have the little pass that you get on the backs, all the legal jargon about, this is dangerous, this is that, this is the other. Yeah. But you have someone who's actually blind now, and I know that she's, gone forward with a lawsuit. And if that was to actually go forward and, she's awarded whatever she's awarded for what happened to her, how that could change, if people could actually go around. Like my wife said the other day, we were watching golf on TV and the ball went wayward into the rough. And they show from up top, from the top looking down, all the people run and gather around the ball. My wife goes, why would you do that?
Well,
why?
They got to see that ball, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, you just want to be next to the ball. And then the person, I can't remember who's hitting on the tour, but someone's getting ready to hit, and they're a thin corridor of people. And my wife goes, that's insane. Why are they doing that? And the question is, why would the tour let people do that? With liability where it's at now, especially in the state of California.
I don't think that she's going to win that case. And if Koepka decides to pay for medical or whatever, that's out of the kindness of his heart, because there are serious liability waivers that when you go watch a tournament, you're taking risk. Now in baseball, remember the foul balls used to smack people and was hurting them all the time? Now there's nets in every park, right?
Somebody got hit last night.
I know,
in a Dodger game.
I saw it. They only showed him briefly, but they did.
It was not good. So I don't think that ended up well at all. And that looked like an area where they did have a net.
It just passed, I think.
And it just passed
it just passed. And so they did put nets, because people are getting hit so often, especially like minor league stuff. They weren't showing a lot of these games. People are getting hit. And fatalities it was awful. So they're doing something. But I don't think that, when you go to see an event like that, you assume the risk. But I don't know about your golf course. But not to stay dark. If you're joining us, this is the Halloween show, where it's the only time of the year that we go to the dark side and talk about some of the things that can happen on a golf course. And I did the search, and this is the 10 worst ways that people died on a golf course. I say it with a chuckle because there's some really interesting ways, Mike, that people have passed away. Sadly, it happens, although it's rare. It's possible to play lights out for good. All right, 30,000 people. This was back in 16 to visit emergency rooms. 15,000 people died, but there was only a few hundred deaths. But this is. Can I read a couple of these?
Yeah.
Or I've got 5. You've got. We'll go alternate.
Yeah.
All right. So I got a man in Ireland was searching for his ball in a ditch when a rat ran up his leg. It urinated and bit him. The man finished his round despite suffering the bite. He died 2 weeks later from kidney failure, a symptom from the Weil's disease, which is carried by rats. Poor guy. A rat climbed up. Oh, man. So
Why? Let me ask this on that story.
why is this golf related?
No, but why did they throw in there the rat urinated on him and bit him?
Because
It's because the urine the urine killed him.
Right. Or the saliva. That's just what it says, man. I'm
Okay.
just reading what it says here. But nothing to do with Mr. Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no mention of
despite
harm.
suffering the bite, so it ran up his leg, urinated, and bit him. The man finished his round. He finished his round, despite suffering from the bite. But he died 2 weeks later from symptoms from the disease that the rat carried. Now, I would have gone immediately, cleaned that stuff up, and figured that out. So, what do you got?
A full mouth with a granola bar.
Want me to read
Yeah.
2 then?
Sorry.
You want me to read that one?
Yeah.
All right. A man left a Virginia country club with a headache, which was compounded by fever, nausea, and a rash. 4 days later, he was in the hospital covered with blisters, and he died from severe allergic reaction to pesticides that were used on the course. This was many years ago before they used. So
That's
he must have
scary.
been licking the golf ball or did something, but they chased it back to the pesticides that were used on the golf course.
And that's a
Horrible
lot,
way to die.
That's a lot of reasons why golf operators don't want people to play barefoot.
I have no question. And other too. You
And
step on all kinds of
now
stuff.
they're using a lot different as far as like
Yeah.
fertilizers
More green.
and more green based kind of stuff. But there are people that want to play barefoot or in flip flops, and your skin can absorb the fertilizers and all that. And that can make you sick. Or broken tees, can pierce right through your foot. And a lot of people just don't think about that.
And it
stuff.
could be a rusted, piece of metal that's been sitting down in there, a piece of pipe or broken stuff. It's crazy.
Or you could step in Arnold Palmer's poop.
You could step in a feces,
Yeah.
and that's not good. If you have
That's
if
possible.
you have a wound like you do on your thumb right now,
Yeah.
if you're hammering your toe, I mean, you could have had your toe in front
Isn't
of the
that
hammer.
nice?
Yeah, it's really good. I appreciate you sharing that with me.
In Canada, a golfer died on the course after his golf cart hit a retaining wall and tumbled 20 feet to the road below. The death was ruled accidental, though the coroner noted the man's alcohol blood level was twice the legal limit.
And all joking aside, man, how often do we see intoxicated people in golf carts at our
The
facilities?
only reason I'm laughing is
It's
the story
awful.
that you tell every year about
the guy going down the cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. I got one if we have time to share that.
I'm not laughing at what I just read.
If you heard
so.
the sound that happened that night, that's what's. I still hear it. And it was pitch black, but I still hear it. So there's another toxic injury. A teenager from Arizona died after drinking from a golf course water cooler.
That was a big deal.
And
I was at Black
They were
Lake.
leaving coolers out there way long.
Yeah.
People didn't know there's water just stagnant getting in there, and you're thirsty. So the operators really, and it seems so much better. A different type of coolers nowadays, or less, or no coolers.
That's a little tangy.
What was that? Man, was that a little stick there? What was that? Little.
Did Palmer poop in there?
It seems is this what they call an Arnold Palmer? That's half poop, half urine. I don't know. What do you got? You're picking on the king, man.
I'm sorry, I know it's bad. During a round with her family in Japan, a woman drowned after falling into a sinkhole that formed in the middle of a fairway. The water-filled hole was about 15 feet deep and 5 feet wide and was said to be caused by runoff that made the turf collapse. John, did you turn off the sprinkler system before we left last night?
Have you seen Kim? It's your turn, Kim.
John, did you notice that valve number 3 was set for 47 minutes? Did you change that to 7
Did you
minutes?
change the PSI on
On the
that?
fairway,
It's a
fairway
little-
3?
I noticed the PSI is a little high in that pipe over there. Have you seen? Where's Kim? Would you finish the round or would you go looking?
What, if
For
she's
her.
gone?
Yeah, would you-
Oh, I would not finish the round.
You got to look for her.
I never put golf ahead of life like that, ever.
But what
Ever.
if you didn't know she went? You look around and you think you just don't see her. She's gone, and you're up ahead, getting ready to chip out, and she's gone.
I would still go look for her.
You're a good man.
Unless, okay, this is the only unless.
Unless.
Okay, say it's just someone you got paired up with on the team. You don't know the
Oh,
person,
kind of a
and they're
stranger?
having a rough round.
And they could have walked
And they
off.
could have just said, "Hey, I'm out of
They
here."
could have hinderlighted.
Yeah, they could have said, "I'm gone. I don't want to do this anymore."
They could have ricked.
And they're like, you're like, well, I guess they were so upset that they just left.
Yeah.
And then you start thinking like, I've done that before. I've been that
You never
frustrated.
just walked off the golf course.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
When I'm by myself.
Oh, well, that's different. Have you ever fallen into a 15-foot sinkhole?
Thank goodness, no.
All right, here we go. So then I got this. After a poor shot in New York golf course, a teenager slammed his 3-wood against the bench. Now, this happens a lot. The club snapped, and the piece was propelled back towards him and pierced his heart. We've talked about this one in previous shows. He was pronounced dead at the hospital on when he got to his DOA. He was the
Wow.
second golfer we found who was killed by the shaft of his own clubs. Another died when the driver broke and swung the shaft, pierced his artery in his groin, causing him to bleed to death on the golf course. We've those,
Oh,
and
that's
then
queasy.
that is Pat. I mean, you got to be, and you know this the one I have about the eyeball. You guys gotta be careful when you break your clubs because there's the ricochet effect. You know that boing wonk coming back, what they call that spring effect.
What's that sound?
Boing wonk.
Okay.
It's also the same sound Arnold Palmer made. So it did. They ricochet. So you think it's going to just snap and go off, you know?
it doesn't.
And it doesn't. It springs, the pieces fling back. So more injuries are caused. You hurt yourself versus others.
This is making me cringe. I'm already cringing.
Which, hey, we're trying to save lives here. This is our job. Stay away from sinkholes. Don't bust your clubs, man. Don't slam your clubs against anything.
Now, this next one, this is crazy, and I've seen people get really mad on the golf course between each other, between groups, and this is a good reason why you shouldn't. A fight between a golfer and the threesome playing behind him turned deadly when the man was fatally kicked in the chest.
Wow, serious kick.
The argument stemmed from the threesome losing their patience, waiting on the guy to search for his lost ball. A jury ruled that the kick was an act of self-defense.
So the guy charged, right? The guy had to, if it's self-defense, well, he had his two buddies could testify.
never-
the guy that died couldn't say much.
I've never understood the amount of emotion that people show at a golf course. Who's that in front of us? Who's that on the tee? Who's that? Like they get so irritated. I'm like, it's people. You're at a golf course.
And
They're
it's
playing.
a game. Enjoy life.
And
Here,
then
take a
you get a
minute,
call.
people.
Hey, this guy, he's taking 3 minutes to look for his ball. Can you send a marshal out here, please? Like, where are you going? You're playing golf. Relax.
Sunny. It's gorgeous out here.
Hey, you know what? I got women playing in front of me.
Oh, hate that one. That's wrong.
What's wrong with that? They're women. Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, that's
People,
ridiculous.
I don't understand.
Or even my kids. When I have my kids out there,
Yeah.
and we were playing last night, they had their little 4-hole challenge. And you can see people, kids all over the place. The kids are players, man.
I know,
and the women are faster than most men. Do you know that? They
Yes.
are. Absolutely.
Absolutely. They know the rules better than most men,
they
too.
way know the rules better. I just want to say one, if you make a hole-in-one, be careful how you celebrate. 83-year-old man celebrated on his 18th hole, his 18th hole-in-one, only to die from the aneurysm moments after his scorecard was verified. He got too excited and popped.
At least he's happy.
So the title is Popped. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
sad.
it was happy. You're right. It was a good moment
Yeah.
to go. And so I'm 0-3 on golf course CPRs.
Going out on a high note.
Did you know that?
I've
you were
heard.
there. Well, two of
Yeah.
them. I did 2 of them are Avila. One was
Yeah.
one is at Avila, 2 back.
One was a bee sting, I think. You
Yeah,
did.
we had it. Yes, yeah. She went to anaphylactic shock or whatever.
Shock.
She had an inner straw. She sucked it down into her throat. The bee was in her straw.
Crazy. Oh, scary.
Can't say the words, but
All right, we'll be right back.
Or
Golf
save
Talk
lives,
Radio
apparently.
brought to you by Sundale Country Club, 661-831-5224, SundaleCountryClub.com, home of the Bakersfield City Championship for over 30 years. Give them a call for tee times, 661-831-5224. We'll be right back. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy.